I'm not dramatic. I swear I'm not. I'm one of those people who always says, it's probably nothing. Headache? Probably dehydration. Bad dream? Too much coffee. But that morning? Yeah, that morning felt off before anything even happened. I was standing in my kitchen, barefoot, staring at the kettle like it personally offended me. It was screaming, full boil, and I just didn't move, didn't reach for it, didn't turn it off. Just stood there, thinking about absolutely nothing and everything at the same time. Then my phone buzzed. I remember thinking, who even texts this early? I picked it up and it was my son, Alex. Now, Alex is not a texter. He's a call you back later guy. He sends texts like, okay, busy, thumbs up. So seeing a long message from him? Yeah, red flag number one. I wiped my hands on my pajama pants and opened it. It said, Mom, don't come to the hospital. I'm fine. I'll explain later. That was it. No heart emoji, no love you, no explanation. Just don't come. I reread it, then again, then out loud, like maybe saying it would make it make sense. Don't come to the hospital, I whispered. What hospital? Because here's the thing, I didn't even know he was sick. My heart did that thing, you know the one, that sudden drop like an elevator falling 2 floors too fast. I typed back immediately. What hospital? Alex, what happened? No reply. I waited 30 seconds, then a minute. Then I started pacing, phone in my hand, walking in little angry circles around the kitchen. I called him. Straight to voicemail. Okay, calm down. Don't panic. Maybe he's in a scan. Maybe they took his phone. Hospitals do that sometimes, right? I called again. Voicemail. Now, my tea kettle was still screaming behind me, and for some reason that sound just snapped something inside my head. I turned it off way too hard, like I was mad at it, and said out loud, "This is not normal." Because it wasn't. Alex always calls me back. Always. Even when he's busy, even when he's annoyed, even when he says he's fine. And also, why tell your mother not to come? That's not something you say unless you're hiding something. So I did the thing every mom does when her kid tells her not to do something. I grabbed my coat. I didn't even shower, didn't brush my hair properly. I just shoved it into a messy bun, threw on sneakers, and grabbed my purse. While I was locking the door, my phone buzzed again. Another message from Alex. Please, just stay home. I don't want you to worry. That line? Yeah, that one scared me more than the first text, because when someone says they don't want you to worry, it usually means you absolutely should. I texted back, Alex, I'm already worried. Talk to me. No answer. At this point, my hands were shaking. Not full panic yet, but that quiet, cold fear that creeps up your spine and sits there. I got in the car. And here's the part that still messes with me. I didn't even know where I was driving. Alex lives across town. There are 3 major hospitals near him. 3. I started the engine and just sat there, staring at the steering wheel, feeling stupid and helpless. Then I remembered something. 2 weeks earlier, he mentioned, very casually, that his company had changed their insurance and now they were assigned to a specific hospital network. At the time, I barely listened. I think I was complaining about my neighbor's dog. But now, that tiny detail felt huge. I typed the hospital's name into my GPS with shaky fingers. It popped up, 24 minutes away. I started driving. The whole way there, my brain was doing that awful thing where it creates 100 worst-case scenarios. Car accident, heart issue, collapsed at work, something he didn't want me to see. And then there was this one thought I tried really hard to push away. What if he didn't want me there because someone else was there? I shook my head, like physically shook it. "No," I said out loud. "Don't do that. Alex is a good kid. He's not perfect, but he's honest. At least, I thought he was." I pulled into the hospital parking lot way too fast, parked crooked, didn't care. Inside, everything smelled like disinfectant and bad coffee, the usual. People sitting everywhere, some crying quietly, some staring at walls. I walked straight to the front desk. "Hi," I said, trying to sound calm, even though my voice was already cracking. "I'm looking for my son, Alex Miller." The receptionist typed for a second. Then she stopped, looked at the screen, looked at me, then she said something that made my stomach twist. "Are you family?" I nodded. "I'm his mother." She hesitated, just a tiny pause, but I noticed it. "Let me check something," she said. That's when I knew. Something was very, very wrong. So the receptionist does that thing where she turns her screen just a little away from me, not enough to hide it completely, just enough to make it clear I'm not supposed to see. She clicks a few times, types, stops, types again. I hate silence like that heavy, thick silence where nobody knows what to say next. Then she looks up at me and says, way too gently, "Can you confirm his date of birth?" I tell her. My voice sounds weird to my own ears, like it belongs to someone else. She nods slowly. "Okay." Just, okay. No smile. No, he's doing fine. No, he's resting. Nothing. Then she says, "One moment, please." And she stands up. Stands up. That's when my legs went weak, because if everything was normal, she would have just told me the room number. She wouldn't need to get anyone else involved. I leaned against the counter, pretending I was fine, while my brain screamed, "What are you not telling me? What happened to my son?" She disappeared through a door behind the desk, and I swear every second she was gone felt like a minute. People were walking past me, a nurse pushing a cart, a man on crutches, a couple whispering to each other. Life just continuing, like my world wasn't about to crack open. Finally, she came back with a woman wearing a badge that said Patient Services. The woman smiled, but it was one of those professional smiles, the kind that's trained, not real. "Hi," she said. "You're Alex's mother?" "Yes," I said quickly. "Where is he?" She didn't answer right away. Instead, she said, "Let's step over here." She guided me to a couple of chairs against the wall. Chairs. You don't sit people down to give good news. I sat. My knees were bouncing like crazy and I couldn't stop them. "Is he okay?" I asked. "Because he texted me not to come and now you're sitting me down and I really don't like this." She took a breath. "Your son is stable." Stable. Another word I hate. "What does that mean?" I asked. Stable like walking around stable or stable like hooked up to machines stable? She paused. And that pause? Yeah, that pause answered the question before she even spoke. "He's currently being monitored," she said carefully. "There were complications." My mouth went dry. What kind of complications? She glanced down at her clipboard, then back at me. "Before I go further, I just need to confirm something. Did your son list you as his emergency contact?" That hit me like a slap. "Of course he did. I'm his mother." She nodded slowly again. "Yes, he did." "Okay, good. So why are we still talking like this?" Then she said, "He specifically requested that you not be notified right away." I stared at her. "I'm sorry," I said. "He did what?" She stayed calm. Too calm. "He specifically requested that you not be contacted right away." I laughed. I couldn't help it. A short, sharp laugh that sounded almost rude. "That doesn't make any sense," I said. "He calls me for everything. He calls me when he has a cold." She nodded like she'd heard this 1,000 times. "I understand this is confusing." Confusing? "No," I said, leaning forward. "This is terrifying. Why didn't he want me here? She hesitated, and then she said something that made my chest tighten. He said he didn't want you to see him like this. I swallowed hard. Like what? She didn't answer right away. Instead, she said, "Let me take you to the waiting area for his floor. The doctor will explain everything." The doctor. That word echoed in my head. I stood up on shaky legs and followed her down a long hallway. Every step felt heavy, like I was walking through water. We passed rooms, curtains, machines beeping. I kept trying to catch a glimpse of Alex through open doors, even though I didn't know what I was looking for. Finally, we stopped outside a set of double doors. She turned to me and said, "Please wait here." And then she left. Just like that. I sat down again, hands clenched in my lap, staring at the floor. That's when my phone buzzed. Alex. A text. My heart jumped so hard it actually hurt. I opened it immediately. It said, "Mom, I told you not to come." That's it. No, "Are you okay?" No, "How did you know?" Just that. I typed back with shaking fingers. "I'm here. I'm talking to the staff. Why didn't you tell me?" There was a long pause, long enough for my thoughts to spiral again. Then another message came through. "I didn't want you to be scared." I stared at that line for a long time, because here's the thing. I wasn't scared before. I was confused, I was worried, I was annoyed. But now? Now I was terrified. I typed back, "Alex, what happened to you?" 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again, then finally the message came through, and when I read it, my hands went cold. I collapsed at work. They said I almost didn't make it. I couldn't breathe. I actually had to remind myself to inhale. Almost didn't make it. My son, my baby, lying in a hospital bed while I was at home arguing with a tea kettle. I typed, "Why?" Another pause. Then he sent, "Because I lied to you." That's when I knew this wasn't just about a medical emergency. This was about something he'd been hiding from me for a long time. So I'm sitting there in that stupid plastic hospital chair, staring at my phone like it's about to explode. I lied to you. Those 4 words were just sitting on the screen. Quiet, innocent looking, but they felt heavy, like bricks on my chest. I typed back slowly because suddenly I was scared of the answer. About what? The 3 dots showed up again, then vanished, then showed up again. I swear whoever invented that typing indicator enjoys watching people suffer. While I was waiting, a nurse walked past me, pushing one of those metal carts that rattles and squeaks. Somewhere down the hall, a monitor started beeping faster than normal, and my whole body flinched like it was calling my name. My phone buzzed. I haven't been okay for a long time. That was it. No explanation, no details, just that. I leaned back in the chair and closed my eyes for a second, not because I was tired, but because I needed a second to stop myself from jumping to conclusions. "What do you mean, not okay?" I typed. "Physically? Mentally? Alex, talk to me." This time, the dots stayed there longer. Then the message came in, longer than the others. "I've been getting dizzy spells for months, chest pains sometimes. I kept telling myself it was stress, work, lack of sleep. I didn't want to worry you." I felt something sharp twist in my stomach. "Months?" I whispered out loud. Months. All those phone calls, all those, "I'm fine, Mom." All those times I asked, "Are you eating well?" And he said yes. I typed faster now, my fingers almost angry. "Why didn't you tell me?" The reply came quicker this time. "Because every time I start to feel weak, I remember Dad." That stopped me cold. My husband had died young. Sudden heart issue, no warning. One day he was fine, the next day he was gone. Alex was only 18 back then. I swallowed hard. I didn't want to be that, he continued. The sick one, the fragile one. I wanted you to see me as strong. Oh, sweetheart. I stared at the screen, tears blurring the words. You don't stop being strong just because you ask for help, I typed back. A few seconds passed. Then he wrote, I know, I just didn't know how to say it. Before I could respond, the double doors behind me opened. A man in a white coat stepped out, middle-aged, calm face, tired eyes. He looked around, then straight at me. Mrs. Miller? I stood up immediately. Yes, that's me. I'm Dr. Reynolds, he said. I've been overseeing your son's care. I wanted to grab him by the coat and shake answers out of him, but instead I just nodded. How is he? I asked. Really? He gestured toward the chairs. Let's sit for a moment. There it was again. That damn sitting down. We sat. Your son experienced a cardiac event, he said gently. My ears started ringing. A what? His heart rhythm became dangerously irregular. He lost consciousness at work. I shook my head. But he's young. He exercises. He doesn't even smoke. The doctor nodded. Yes, which is why it was so important that his co-workers acted quickly. They called emergency services right away. I gripped the armrest. If they hadn't? I asked quietly. He met my eyes. If they hadn't, the outcome could have been very different. I felt dizzy. Is it genetic? Because my husband... Yes, he said softly. That was one of our concerns. We're running tests, but it appears your son has an underlying heart condition, something that likely runs in the family. I let out a shaky breath. So he knew, I said. He felt it coming. The doctor nodded again. He mentioned symptoms during evaluation. He said he'd been experiencing warning signs for some time. Anger bubbled up through the fear. Why didn't he come sooner? Why didn't anyone catch this? He didn't tell anyone, the doctor said. Not his primary physician, not his family. I closed my eyes, because suddenly everything made sense. The canceled plans, the exhaustion, the way his voice sometimes sounded strained on the phone. And then the doctor said something that made my heart break all over again. He was more worried about you than himself. I laughed softly, the kind of laugh that comes out when you're trying not to cry. That sounds like him, I said. The doctor stood up. He's awake now, he said. Would you like to see him? Would I like to see him? I stood so fast, the chair scraped loudly across the floor. Yes, I said, please. He led me through the doors, down another hallway, and stopped in front of a room. Room 412. He knocked lightly and pushed the door open. And there he was, Alex, lying in a hospital bed, pale, tubes everywhere, a heart monitor quietly ticking beside him. He looked smaller, not weak, just human. His eyes met mine, and for a second, neither of us said anything. Then he whispered, "You came anyway." I walked straight to his bedside. "I always will," I said, "no matter what you say." And for the first time since this whole nightmare started, he cried. So Alex is lying there, crying. Actual tears. Not the quiet kind either. The kind where your shoulders shake and you can't stop, even if you want to. And let me tell you something. Seeing your grown son cry like that, it messes you up in a way I can't even explain. I grabbed his hand. It felt cold. Too cold. "I'm here," I said. "I'm not going anywhere." He squeezed my hand, weak at first, then tighter, like he was afraid I might disappear if he let go. "I was so scared," he whispered. I know you were. He took a shaky breath. I thought if I told you, you'd look at me the same way you looked at Dad at the end. That one hurt. That one went straight through me. I swallowed hard. I didn't look at your father like he was broken, I said. I looked at him like he was precious. Alex closed his eyes. That's worse, he said quietly. I didn't want to be precious. I wanted to be normal. Oh God, that word, normal. I brushed his hair back gently, like I used to when he was little and sick with the flu. Being alive is normal, I said. Everything else is just noise. He sniffed, half laughed. You always say stuff like that. Yeah, I said, and you never listen. That got a small smile out of him. Then he went quiet again. And when Alex goes quiet like that, it means something big is coming. There's more, he said. My heart sank. More? I asked. He nodded slowly. I lost my job last month. I blinked. What? I didn't collapse at work today because I was working, he said. I was there to pick up my last paycheck. That one stunned me. But you told me everything was fine, I said. I know, he said quickly. I didn't want you to worry. You already lost Dad. I didn't want to be another problem. Another problem? I felt something inside me snap. Not angry, just sad. Deeply sad. You were never a problem, I said. Not once. Not ever. He stared at the ceiling. He continued, I couldn't sleep. Bills, rent, the chest pain, the dizziness. It all just stacked up. He took a shaky breath. And today, it just hit me. I thought I was having a panic attack. Then everything went black. I squeezed his hand harder. And you still didn't want me to come, I said softly. He turned his head toward me. I was scared you'd see me like this. Weak, broke, sick. I leaned closer. Alex, I said, I gave birth to you. I changed you. I cleaned vomit off your hair at 3 a.m. There is no version of you that scares me away. His eyes filled again. I almost died, he whispered. I nodded. I know, I said, and that's exactly why I'm here. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said something I wasn't ready for. I wrote you a note. I frowned. A note? Yeah, he said, on my phone, in case I didn't wake up. My chest tightened. What kind of note? He hesitated. I didn't send it. I couldn't. Why not? I asked. Because I didn't know how to say goodbye without admitting I was afraid. I closed my eyes for a second. Can I see it? I asked gently. He nodded. Phone's in the drawer. I opened the little hospital drawer and found his phone. My hands were shaking again as I unlocked it. He told me where to find the note, and when I read it, I had to sit down. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't long. It just said, Mom, if you're reading this, I'm sorry I didn't tell you I was struggling. I didn't want to disappoint you. I love you more than anything. I hope you know that. I covered my mouth. You thought you would disappoint me by being human? I asked. He looked away. I thought I was supposed to be okay, he said. I leaned in close, my forehead almost touching his. Listen to me, I said slowly. You don't owe me strength. You don't owe me success. You don't owe me being okay. You only owe me honesty. He nodded, tears sliding down his temples. I promise, he said. And in that moment, I believed him. Because sometimes you don't need a miracle. You just need the truth to finally come out. So, we're sitting there, in that hospital room. Machines quietly beeping, lights too bright, everything smelling like plastic and disinfectant. Alex finally calms down a bit. His breathing evens out. His grip on my hand loosens, but he doesn't let go completely. That's when the door opens again. Dr. Reynolds comes back in, this time with a woman in scrubs and a tablet tucked under her arm. Cardiology. You can always tell. Calm faces, serious eyes. Alex, the doctor says, how are you feeling? Like I got hit by a truck, Alex says. The doctor gives a small smile. That's fair. Then he looks at me. We've reviewed the initial test results, he says, and I want to be very honest with both of you. I brace myself. My shoulders tense up without me even realizing it. The condition your son has, he continues, is manageable, but it's not something we can ignore. Alex exhales slowly. What does manageable mean? Like pills and I'm good? The doctor hesitates just a second. Medication will be part of it, he says, but not all of it. Alex closes his eyes. I already know he doesn't like where this is going. You'll need lifestyle changes, the doctor continues. Less stress, consistent sleep, regular monitoring. Alex nods, but I can tell he's barely listening. And, the doctor adds, there's a procedure we strongly recommend. Alex opens his eyes immediately. What kind of procedure? The doctor explains it calmly, too calmly. Implantable device, regulates heart rhythm, prevents sudden events. Alex goes very still. You want to put something inside me? He asks. It's a preventative measure, the doctor says. Given your family history, it significantly reduces risk. Risk. That word again. Alex looks at me, really looks at me, and I see it in his eyes. Fear. Real fear. I don't want that, he says quietly. The room goes silent. I turn to him. Alex, I don't want to live like I'm fragile, he says, his voice rising just a little. I don't want to be the guy with a device in my chest. I don't want my whole life to be about not dying. The doctor doesn't interrupt. He's heard this before. I squeeze Alex's hand. This isn't about not living, I say gently. It's about staying alive long enough to live. He looks away. I already feel broken, he says. This just makes it official. That sentence hits me hard. Hey, I say softly, look at me. He doesn't. Alex, I repeat. Slowly, he turns his head. You are not broken, I say. You're injured. There's a difference. He laughs weakly. You really believe that? I do, I say, and you don't get to decide your value based on a piece of medical hardware. The doctor clears his throat gently. We're not forcing any decisions today, he says, but I'd encourage you both to think about it. He gives us some space and steps out again. As soon as the door closes, Alex sighs. I hate this, he says. I know, I reply. I hate that Dad died like that. I hate that this is following me. I nod. Me too. Then he says something unexpected. What if I didn't wake up today? My chest tightens. What if you got that note and that was it? I don't answer right away, because the truth is, I had thought about that. Instead, I say, then I'd spend the rest of my life wishing you'd trusted me sooner. He swallows. I didn't want to be a burden, he says. I lean closer. You were never heavy, I say. You were just quiet, and quiet pain is the hardest to see. He looks at the ceiling again. I don't know how to do this, he admits. I don't know how to live slower. I smile sadly. Neither did I say. After your dad died, everything felt like it was moving too fast and too slow at the same time. He glances at me. But you figured it out, he says. I shake my head. No, I say. I adjusted. over and over again, and you will too." He's quiet for a long time. Then finally he whispers, "Stay with me tonight." I don't even think. "Of course," I say. And right there, sitting in that hospital room, watching my son breathe, I realize something important. This wasn't just about his heart. It was about learning how to ask for help before everything collapses. So, night falls in the hospital in a really weird way. There's no sunset, no soft transition. It just gets quieter. Lights dim a little, footsteps slow down, voices drop. I pull that stiff hospital chair closer to Alex's bed and sit down, jacket still on, purse on my lap, like I might need to leave at any second, even though I know I won't. Alex drifts in and out of sleep, not deep sleep, the kind where your eyes close but your body stays alert, like it doesn't fully trust the room yet. Every time a machine beeps, his eyes flutter open. "I'm still here," I whisper. "I know," he murmurs. At some point, he asks for water. I help him drink it through a straw like he's 8 again instead of 32. He looks embarrassed for half a second. "Don't," I say. "Don't even start." He smiles faintly. "I forgot how weird hospitals are at night," he says. "Everything feels louder," I agree, "even your thoughts." That gets him quiet again. Around midnight, my phone vibrates. I almost ignore it. I don't want the outside world right now, but then I see the name. Sarah, Alex's girlfriend. I hesitate. Then I answer quietly and step just outside the room. "Hi," I whisper. Her voice cracks immediately. "Is he okay?" That tells me everything. "He didn't tell you," I say. "No," she says. "He just stopped replying. Then his coworker messaged me." I close my eyes. "He's stable," I say. "He's sleeping right now." She exhales, like she's been holding her breath for hours. "I knew something was wrong," she says. "He's been pushing everyone away." I lean against the wall. "He thought he had to handle it alone," I say. She laughs softly, bitterly. "He's terrible at that." I smile despite everything. "Yeah," I say. "He gets that from his father." There's a pause. "Can I come tomorrow?" she asks. "If that's okay." "Of course," I say. "He'll pretend he doesn't want to see you, but he will." She sniffles. "Thank you for staying with him." "Where else would I be?" I say. When I go back into the room, Alex's eyes are open. "That was Sarah," he says. "Yeah." "She's mad, isn't she?" "Terrified," I correct. "Same as me." He nods slowly. "I'm tired of being afraid," he says. I pull the blanket up around him a little more. "Then stop doing it alone," I say. He looks at me for a long second. "I almost died today," he says quietly. "Yes, you did." "And my first thought wasn't about work," he continues, "or money, or any of that." I wait. "It was you," he says. "I thought, God, Mom, I thought you were gonna get a call and just collapse." My throat tightens. "I'm stronger than you think," I say. "I know," he says. "That's why I should have told you." There it is, the real apology. Not the rushed one, not the half one. "I'm sorry," he says, "for lying, for pretending, for pushing you away." I reach out and rest my hand on his chest, right over his heart. "Thank you for staying. That's apology enough." He nods, eyes glossy. "About the procedure," he says after a moment. I don't jump in. I let him talk. "I'm scared," he admits, "but I'm more scared of not waking up next time." I squeeze his hand. "So what are you thinking?" I ask. He thinks, he says slowly, I need to stop trying to be invincible. That word again, invincible. That's a young person's dream, not a requirement. He lets out a breath that sounds like relief. "I'll do it," he says. "The procedure, the changes, all of it." I don't cheer, I don't cry, I just nod. "I'll be right here," I say. He finally falls into deeper sleep after that, the steady kind. The machines keep their quiet rhythm. Sometime around 4 in the morning, I realize something. I'm not scared anymore. Tired? Yes. Worried? Always. But the sharp panic is gone. Because the truth is out now. And when the truth is out, healing actually has somewhere to start. I must have dozed off at some point because the next thing I know, there's light creeping in through that tiny hospital window, that pale, early morning kind, the kind that doesn't feel warm yet, just honest. My neck hurts, my back hurts, my whole body feels like I slept folded in half. But Alex is still breathing steady. The monitor's doing its quiet little rhythm, and that's enough. A nurse comes in softly, like she's entering a library. "Good morning," she whispers. I nod, rubbing my eyes. Alex wakes up slowly, squinting at the light. "Morning," he says, voice rough. "How you feeling?" she asks. "Like I ran a marathon in my sleep," he replies. She smiles, checks his vitals, writes things down, efficient, calm. When she leaves, there's this weird stillness in the room. Morning silence hits different than night silence. It feels like a question. Alex breaks it. "Mom?" "Yeah?" "I need help." I freeze. Not because I don't want to help, because he's never said it like that before. Not, "Can you do this real quick?" Not, "I've got it, but maybe you could." Just, "I need help." "Okay," I say carefully. "With what?" "Everything," he says. "Bills, doctors, talking to people. I can't do it all right now." I nod slowly. "Then don't," I say. "We'll split it." He exhales like someone just took a backpack full of rocks off his shoulders. "I hate feeling useless," he admits. "You're not useless," I say. "You're recovering." He looks at me. "You're not disappointed?" That question cuts deeper than anything else he's said. "No," I say firmly. "I'm relieved." He blinks. "Relieved?" "That you didn't disappear without letting me know you were hurting," I say. "That you're still here. That you finally said something." He swallows. "I thought asking for help meant I failed." I shake my head. "No," I say. "It means you're learning." There's a knock on the door. Sarah walks in, eyes puffy, hair pulled back like she didn't sleep much either. The second Alex sees her, his face changes, softens. "Hey," he says. She crosses the room in 3 steps and hugs him carefully like he might break. "I was so mad at you and so scared," she says quietly. "I know. I'm sorry." She pulls back just enough to look at him. "No more hiding." "Deal," he says. I watch them, and something inside me settles. Later that morning, Dr. Reynolds comes back with more explanations, timelines, plans, words like outpatient and monitoring and procedure scheduled. Alex actually asks questions this time, real ones, not defensive, not dismissive. I sit there listening, realizing this is what change looks like. Not dramatic, not loud, just honest. Before the doctor leaves, Alex says something that makes me smile and cry at the same time. I want my mom in the room when you explain things, he says. The doctor nods. Of course. And that's when it hits me. This isn't about control. It's about trust. And for the first time in a long time, Alex is letting himself be seen. Getting discharged from a hospital is this strange mix of relief and dread. Everyone acts like it's a win. Papers get signed, instructions get handed over, nurses smile and say things like, "You're good to go." But nobody tells you that the fear doesn't stay behind in the room. It follows you. Alex gets dressed slowly, every movement careful, like his body doesn't fully trust itself yet. I help him with his jacket, and he looks at me funny. "You could have done that," he says. "I know," I reply. "Let me anyway." He doesn't argue. That's new. We walk out together, past the nurse's station, past the smell of disinfectant, past the quiet chaos of people still waiting for answers of their own. When the automatic doors slide open and fresh air hits us, Alex stops for a second. "Are you okay?" I ask. "Yeah," he says. "It just feels weird, like I'm supposed to feel normal again." I shake my head. "You don't have to feel normal, you just have to feel honest." He nods. The car ride home is quiet at first. Not awkward quiet, just thoughtful. About 10 minutes in, Alex breaks it. "I kept thinking, if I didn't make it, you'd blame yourself." I grip the steering wheel tighter. "I already did, before I even knew what happened." He looks at me. "I didn't want that," he says. "I know," I say, "but that's the deal when you love someone. You take on things that aren't really yours." He sighs. "I don't want you carrying my stuff anymore." "Then stop hiding it," I reply. He nods slowly. When we get to his apartment, I noticed things I didn't before. Unopened mail stacked on the counter, dishes sitting too long in the sink, the couch still made like nobody's really been living there. Alex notices me noticing. "I didn't let it get bad," he says defensively. "I know," I say. "You just stopped letting people in." He sits down carefully, like the couch might surprise him. "I don't want to do that anymore," he says. I sit across from him. "Then don't," I say. "Leave the door cracked." There's a long pause. Then he says it, quietly, clearly. "I don't have to do this alone anymore." And there it is. Not dramatic, not emotional, just true. I smile, even though my eyes burn. "No," I say, "you don't." The weeks after the hospital are quieter than I expected. No sirens, no machines beeping, no doctors walking in with serious faces. Just life. And honestly, that's the hardest part. Because when someone's in the hospital, you know what to do. You show up, you stay alert, you react. But when they're home and fine, that's when the fear gets sneaky. Alex recovers slowly, too slowly for his liking, too fast for mine. He gets tired easily, needs naps, has days where he looks completely normal, and days where I catch him sitting still, hand on his chest, just listening to his own body. I don't hover. I want to. God, I want to. But I don't. Instead, I do small things. I bring groceries. I cook extra and accidentally make too much. I text him things like, "You alive?" and pretend it's a joke. Some nights he calls me just to talk about nothing. Weather, a stupid show, something Sarah said that made him laugh. And sometimes he goes quiet in the middle of a sentence. Those moments scare me. "Alex?" I'll say. "I'm here," he answers quickly, "just thinking." Thinking used to mean spiraling. Now it usually just means processing. One afternoon, about 3 weeks after everything, he calls me and says, "Can you come over?" I don't ask why. When I get there, he's sitting at the table with a pile of papers. Medical forms, bills, appointment reminders. "I tried doing this," he says. "I got overwhelmed." I sit down. "Good," I say. He looks confused. That means you stopped before breaking, I explain. We go through everything together, slowly, one paper at a time. At some point, he laughs. I really thought being an adult meant you just knew how to do this stuff. I smile. No, I say. Being an adult means knowing who to call when you don't. He nods. Later that evening, something small happens, so small you could miss it. We're washing dishes side by side, and suddenly he says, I made an appointment with a therapist. I freeze, just for a second. You did? I ask. Yeah, he says, for next week. I turn and look at him. Why? I ask gently. He shrugs. I don't want to carry everything in my chest anymore, he says. Turns out my heart already has enough to deal with. I laugh, but my throat tightens. I'm proud of you, I say. He doesn't brush it off, doesn't joke. Thanks, he says. That actually means something to me. And right then, I realize something important. Healing isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself. It shows up in moments like this, a phone call, a request, a decision made quietly, without shame. That night, when I leave his apartment, I sit in my car for a minute before driving away. I still feel scared, but it's different now. It's not panic anymore. It's love learning new boundaries. Procedure day doesn't feel real until you're actually there. Up until that morning, it all feels theoretical. Appointments, dates on a calendar, we'll deal with it when it comes. But then you're standing in another hospital hallway at 6 in the morning, holding a paper cup of bad coffee, and suddenly it's very real. Alex looks calm, too calm. That's how he gets when he's scared. He goes quiet, polite, cooperative. Like if he behaves well enough, nothing bad will happen. I recognize it immediately. You don't have to pretend with me, I say as we sit in the waiting area. He says, I'm not pretending. I reply, you are. Your jaw's clenched. He sighs. Okay, he admits. I'm freaking out a little. There it is, I say. That's the version I trust. He laughs weakly. They call his name, a nurse with kind eyes and a clipboard. Alex stands up, then hesitates. Hey, he says. Yeah? If I get weird in there, he starts, then stops. I stand up too. You won't, I say, but even if you do, it's fine. He nods, then he blurts out, I'm glad you came anyway, even when I told you not to. That sentence hits me harder than anything else. Me too, I say. The nurse says it's time. They need to prep him. I'm not allowed past a certain point. Alex takes one step, then turns back. Mom, he says. Yes? He looks at me, eyes steady now, clear. If I hadn't collapsed, I would have kept lying, he says. I would have kept pretending. I don't say anything. I just listen. So if anything good came out of this, he continues, it's that I finally stopped running. I step closer and pull him into a careful hug. I'm proud of you, I whisper. He pulls back and says the sentence I will hear in my head forever. Thank you for coming, even when I pushed you away. Then they take him through the doors, and I'm alone again, waiting. Waiting is the worst part, always has been. Time stretches, minutes feel like hours. I scroll my phone without reading anything. I watch people walk past. I stare at the floor. I replay everything. The text, the drive, the hospital room, the note. I realize how close I came to losing him without ever knowing how much he was hurting. Finally, the doors open. Dr. Reynolds walks towards me. I stand up so fast my chair tips over. He smiles, and just like that, the fear loosens its grip. The procedure went well, he says. Everything worked exactly as expected. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. Can I see him? I ask. In a bit, he says. He's resting, but he'll be asking for you. Of course he will, because this time He knows he doesn't have to face things alone. Alex comes home a few days after the procedure. Not bouncing, not dramatic, just careful. He moves like someone who's aware of his body in a new way, like he's listening to it instead of ignoring it. The first thing he does when he walks into his apartment is stop. Just stands there. Feels weird, he says. Good weird or bad weird? I ask. Both, he says, like I left as one person and came back as another. I nod. That happens, I say. People just don't talk about it much. The recovery days are slow, intentionally slow. No rushing, no pretending. He follows instructions, takes meds, rests even when he hates it. And here's the part that surprises me the most. He tells people the truth. When friends call and say, "So, what happened?" he doesn't say, "Oh, nothing major." He says, "My heart messed up. I almost died. I'm fixing things." Just like that. No drama, no shame. One afternoon, I catch him standing in front of the mirror, shirt lifted slightly, staring at the small outline under his skin. "Does it bother you?" I ask. He thinks for a second. "Not like I thought it would," he says. "It's not a weakness, it's a proof I chose to stay." That sentence stays with me. Weeks pass. Life doesn't magically become easy. Bills still exist, stress still shows up, fear still knocks sometimes. But Alex doesn't shut the door anymore. When he's tired, he says it. When he's scared, he admits it. When he doesn't know something, he asks. One night, we're sitting on the couch watching something stupid, and out of nowhere, he says, "You know, if I hadn't collapsed, I think I would have kept shrinking my life." I glance at him. "What do you mean?" He says, "Turning down plans, avoiding people, pretending I was fine. I was surviving, not living." I nod. "And now?" I ask. He smiles, small but real. "Now I'm paying attention." There's a pause. Then he adds, "And I'm not doing it alone anymore." I don't say anything. I just sit there, feeling something settle inside me. Because this isn't about a hospital anymore. It's about a choice. It happens on a completely normal Tuesday. No warning, no build-up, just an ordinary day pretending to be harmless. Alex calls me around noon. "Hey," he says, a little too casually. That's the first sign. "Hey," I reply, "what's up?" There's a pause, not long, just enough. "I got dizzy," he says, "just for a second." My stomach drops instantly. "Where are you?" I ask. "At home," he says quickly. "I sat down. It passed." I close my eyes. "Okay, breathe. Don't panic. Don't make this worse." "Are you alone?" I ask. "Sarah's at work," he says. "I didn't want to freak her out." There it is. That old reflex. Protect everyone by disappearing into himself. "Alex," I say calmly, "I need you to listen to me." "I am," he says, "I promise." "Did you check your monitor?" I ask. Another pause. "No," he admits. "Why not?" "I didn't want to turn it into a thing," he says. "It might have just been standing up too fast." I grip my phone tighter. This is how it starts. Not the symptom, the minimizing. He exhales. "You're right," he says quietly. "Okay, good, that's good. Now check." I wait. I hear movement, fabric, a breath. "Everything's normal," he says after a moment. "Heart rhythm's steady." My shoulders finally drop a little. "Good," I say. "Now tell me what you actually feel." He's quiet. "I think I got scared," he admits, like scared. "That's allowed," I say. "What did you want to do right before you called me?" Another pause. "Pretend it didn't happen," he says. I nod, even though he can't see me. "And what did you do instead?" "I called you," he says. There it is. The change. I'm proud of you, I say. He laughs softly, shaky. Yeah, me too, a little. Later that evening, I stop by his place with soup he didn't ask for but definitely needs. He looks embarrassed when I walk in. I'm fine, I reply. I still came. We sit at the table and he stirs the soup without eating it. I almost didn't call you today, he admits. But you did, I say. Because I remembered the hospital, he says. I remembered how quiet everything was before it went wrong. I reach across the table and squeeze his hand. That's not fear, I say. That's awareness. He looks up at me. You're not mad I panicked? He asks. No, I say. I'd be mad if you didn't say anything. He nods slowly. That's new, he says. Yeah, for both of us. Later, as I'm leaving, he says something from the doorway. Hey, Mom? Yeah? Thanks for not letting me disappear again. I smile. Anytime, I say. That's my job. Time does its thing. Not in a dramatic way, just quietly. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months. Alex gets stronger. Not superhero strong, just steady. He goes back to work, part-time at first. Different job, less pressure. He actually thinks before saying yes to things now, which still surprises me. He keeps his therapy appointments, doesn't love them, but he goes. Says stuff like, I didn't know how loud my head was until I stopped running from it. He sleeps better, eats better, laughs more. Not constantly, not forced. Real laughs. One afternoon, months later, we're walking slowly through a park near his place. Leaves everywhere. That quiet kind of afternoon where nothing important is supposed to happen. And that's usually when it does. Alex stops walking and looks around. You know what's weird, he says. What? I ask. I don't feel like I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop anymore. I glance at him. That's good, I say. What changed? He thinks for a moment. I stopped thinking of my body as the enemy, he says. It was warning me, I just wasn't listening. I nod. And now, he says? Now I listen, even when it's uncomfortable. We keep walking. After a bit, he says something so simple it almost slips past me. I'm glad I collapsed. I stop. What? Not because it was scary, he says quickly, or painful, but because it stopped me before I disappeared completely. I swallow. You know, when you texted me not to come to the hospital. He smiles slightly. Worst idea I've ever had, he says. Yeah, I agree. But it told me everything. He stops walking again and turns to me. Next time, he says. There better not be a next time, I reply. He smiles. You know what I mean. Next time I'm scared or lost or hurting. I nod. I'll call, he says, before it gets bad. I reach out and touch his arm. That's all I ever wanted, I say. We stand there for a second, wind moving through the trees, people passing by, living their own quiet stories. Then he says the sentence that tells me, without any doubt, that this wasn't just a scare, it was a turning point. I don't have to be strong to be okay, he says. I just have to be honest. And right then, I know. Whatever comes next, he won't face it alone.